Morning, folks. I've got some beautiful sunshine today, natural daylight in which to film, which is good. But it's freezing cold here in southwest Scotland, but it's a beautiful sunny day. So just before I go outdoors and enjoy a bit of that for the afternoon, I thought I'd pop on and show you a garden centre haul, which was from Garden Wise in Dumfries yesterday, which was a good outing with kind of mixed results. Garden centre shopping is not something I've really done before, not having a garden until moving out here 6 months ago, so it's all kind of new to me, although I am aware that they're pretty expensive places to shop. One of my intentions from living out in the country now was to try and aim for self-sufficiency in basic food stuff. So it's winter at the moment, but I've started digging a garden, prepping the ground now that I've got space to have a go at growing some veg. Again, it's not something I've done before, but I can have a crack at it. And that was, it's kind of one of the dreams of rural life, I think, is to be able to do that to some extent and learn these skills that can help you look after yourself, and also cut a few expenses here and there. It would be great if I had, just a bit of salad and potatoes even, so I didn't have to drive to get those things, which I do at the moment. But garden centres, I don't know what they're like outside the UK, but they're a wee bit mad here. Garden Wise in Dumfries is really well thought of. It's the biggest one for miles, and it's very well reviewed. It's clean and neat, and the staff we spoke to were really helpful. But at the same time, it's got just mad stuff in it. It's got, one of the things we saw was, which we're not in the market for, was it was a 4-foot model of a bear. No idea what it was made out of, ceramic or resin or something, but it was £1,000. I just can't imagine someone going to a garden centre and spotting that on the shelf and thinking, oh, I'll spend £1,000 today on a 4-foot ceramic bear. It's just bizarre. Some of these, I can't ever imagine having, not only is it not to my taste, but I can't ever imagine having that kind of disposable income. Anyway, the trip was primarily my son's idea, because he's got some things that he wants to grow, and it's a good hobby for him, because it's a hard, rural life for a young man in his late teens is pretty hard going in terms of building a social life, especially somewhere brand new. It's okay if you've got friends you've been all the way through school with, but finding hobbies, finding a social life, meeting new people is difficult. So anything he wants to do for a hobby, I'm 100% behind, really. So yeah, what I'm showing you here doesn't include his stuff. He's spent his own money on equipment for his various growing projects that he's going to start doing over the spring when it finally gets here. What I'm showing you in front of me here is, it looks unbelievable, but this cost me £115, which is insane. And I don't know, for anyone who's budgeting or who's trying to save money, and then perhaps you've had this experience, then you go and have some kind of wild spend, or a spend that you kind of think twice about after the event, and then it wakes you up at night, and in the darkness of the pre-dawn hours this morning, I woke up wide awake thinking about the fact that I'd just spent £115 on pots and seeds for the garden, when I don't even have a bed. It's just when you know, when I'm kind of sleeping on duvets on the floor. It's just, yeah, so I am kind of consumed by angst about that. The other issue was, I got out of bed in the dark and I went and fished out the receipt because I thought, God, 115, was it really 115 pounds? Was, you know, perhaps there was a mistake or something, and there was actually a mistake on the price. It was, I'm not sure if it was the orange pots or these black pots, but they'd come through on the till wrong. It was a completely different item that was listed on the receipt. So instead of being 2 for a tenner or 2 for £13, it was they charged me £24. So, you know, I overspent. Not only did I overspend, but I was wrongly charged at Garden Wise. So it cost me £12 more than it should have done, approximately. I did put one thing back on the shelf when I was there yesterday. I picked up a raspberry plant because we've got a perfect spot for a raspberry plant, and they had an autumn fruiting variety which would have been perfect, and it was £9. And I picked that up and put it in the trolley and pushed it around for a bit, but then I put it back. But yeah, this doesn't look like much for 115 quid, and I can think of so much other stuff I could have got for it. But on the plus side, if this works, if I turn into a you know, a gardener and a grower and a producer, then, you know, hopefully I won't have to spend, you know, £1 or £2 on a bag of rocket at Sainsbury's, or same again every time I want to use coriander. Chilies I've kind of grown before on a windowsill, but I'd like to do it properly. We use a lot of chilies. Rosemary's my favourite herb. Sugar snap peas, these look quite fun to grow, and you know, you can kind of pick them off the bush and they'll look beautiful. Again, if this works, I've still got quite a lot of planning and research to do about planting. Thyme, we use that, in fact we use that in hot drinks even, and kind of home remedies. My son's under the weather at the moment and he's been making hot drinks with honey and lemon and ginger and thyme. So as well as putting it in kind of meat-based dishes and roasts, we use it as a home remedy. I think this was the only bargain I got of the day. Spinach, I love spinach cooked or raw. I do use quite a lot of it. So it was £1 because we bought other seeds. The usual price is £2.69. To be honest, I assumed that packets of seeds would be about £1 a packet, but they're not. They're more like £3 a packet, or at least they were at Garden Wise. I mean, I just hope they work. I don't know any seed companies. I don't know what I'm buying really. You just assume that they're a reputable company and that maybe not, you know, there might not be a guarantee, but you know, at least they're kind of providing what they say they are, and if all things are equal, you should get some results. They've got Royal Horticultural Society Award, so that, I mean, that means something. So these are all, we've basically bought things that we use at home. Shallots, I chose shallots rather than onions, because onions are cheap in the supermarkets and shallots are expensive. So if I needed to buy onions, it will be cheaper to go to the shop, and easier as well to buy onions than it will be to buy shallots. And tomatoes. I think tomatoes were the two things. You know, I got two types of tomato. They had so many varieties and they all looked so pretty. But we like the kind of the small wee ones. So I got a 2-colour because I thought, you know, whatever they taste like, it'd be nice if they look pretty as well when they're growing in the garden. And cucumber. These are called Goblin F1 gherkin, so I think they're the mini cucumbers. Again, they're quite good. There's only, you know, we're a family of 2. Quite often when we buy full size cucumbers, they just don't get used. So if these grow, then they're kind of an easier size. Easier size for us to deal with, and reducing waste and all that kind of thing. And one of the things I was looking out for was that they can be grown in containers, because I am digging up part of the garden for vegetable beds, but not sure of the soil quality. It seems quite wet. It's really stony, and obviously other things are growing. You know, it's hard enough getting rid of the grass, let alone all the other things I'm uncovering as I break the soil up. So it might be better to grow a few of these things in the large containers that I've bought. I've got some old pots lying around, and I bought these ones, which are kind of 40 centimetres, 35, and these ones as well, different colours. I thought, you know, it might help me remember what's planted in them, as well as kind of looking nice and in the garden. You know, loads of people where we are now, loads of people keep gardens and grow stuff, but we don't know anyone here, so it's not really any help to us. I did mention to I know, you know, there's someone at my new job who grows, you know, who's pretty much self-sufficient in vegetables and salad vegetables, and I did mention to him, you know, oh, can you recommend a garden centre, and, or, you know, where do you get your stuff, how do you start, kind of thing. And he was a wee bit dismissive, to be honest. He was kind of like, oh, garden centre, you know, I don't use garden centres, people just give me stuff. You know, people just, you know, there's a lot of sharing and swapping, but when you don't know people to do that with, it's, you know, you're starting from nothing. So hence the giant expense. And there's quite a lot of stuff here, and everything's kind of on the way to £3 a packet. So this is how it all adds up. I love Brussels sprouts. I know a lot of people don't. But yeah, hopefully if I can get at least some of these things established, hopefully in the long term it will be a money saving exercise, as well as a, you know, and that will supersede the blowout in garden wise in Dumfries, and maybe that will make me forget about that £12 that is giving me a knot in the stomach. There's no point going back, you know. It's not only is it the day after, but Dumfries is an hour's drive away, so it would be 2 hours driving time to go back in there and argue about a £12 loss that happened yesterday, when I can't really prove it because I've driven away and gone home. So yeah, I'm not going to do that. Lettuce, I thought that, again, there was so many varieties of lettuce, and that was so pretty, but so I went for the kind of purpley lettuce one. These are the labels, plastic labels. Hopefully they'll stand up to the weather. This packet was £5. I did pick up a cheaper packet, but which had obviously fewer labels in it, but my son wants some as well, so I went back and swapped it for the more expensive one that was a £5. I did have some nice wooden ones which would have looked better, and obviously been more sustainable, but they were really expensive. They were like £10 for a jar, and you didn't get you didn't get 50. I think you probably got about 20 or 25 for £10. Yeah, so I would have liked the wooden ones, but no dice. I did get kind of old-fashioned twine though, just natural twine for tying rather than the green wire. I think obviously you need to take a pair of scissors outdoors with you when you're using this, rather than the green wire which comes with a built-in cutter. But I think this is probably better for the planet. And actually I think it probably looks nicer as well when you've got the natural twine. I think reducing as much plastic in the garden as you can is probably a good idea. Labels notwithstanding. Yeah, so quite a lot of stuff's going to be in containers, but yeah, potatoes really. I think quite a lot of our diet is meat and potatoes. It's kind of traditional. We're very traditionally British in that regard. Meat and two veg kind of people. I don't really know how potatoes work, because it seems to me that you plant potatoes and then just pull up potatoes. I'm not really sure how they multiply. It just I need to do a bit more reading around that. But yeah, again, they had loads of varieties, and they were all around this price, £3.99. So I think these will probably take up quite a lot of room in the part of the garden that I've dug. So yeah, I've got a lot more digging to do over the winter weeks. I started back in October because I'd heard that it was good to get the garden dug and allow frosts to break up the ground that you're turning over, and also help kill the weeds that you're turning over and exposing the roots. So I've been going out there intermittently and working on it and digging more and tidying it up as well, but there's still a lot to be done. And although I felt this was, we haven't got, it's a lot of expense, but I don't think it's actually a huge variety of things. We've got like kind of three types of vegetable for, to go with meat. And I think we've got we've got cucumbers, spring onions and tomatoes. So that's just lettuce, and that's the salad. And then we've got 3 types of herb. So, in terms of types, I don't think we've been too excessive, although it's expensive. But once we've got potatoes, yeah. So that was the garden centre. I won't be doing that again in a hurry. But fingers crossed I can actually garden when it comes to trying it out. I've been picking up gardening books in charity shops, thrift shops, so I've got a lot of research material. I do like a book rather than doing everything online. I like sitting down with a book and looking at pictures and reading what a particular expert has written. So I've got my textbook, and I'm going to work from that. Yeah, so that's it. It's all kind of it looks so pretty when it's all in its packet with these really optimistic photos on the front. But yeah, I'm looking forward to reducing my food bills and clawing back that £115. But it was a good day out anyway. It was terrible weather yesterday, rainy weather, so I think a couple of hours in a garden centre is quite a typical trip for a wet family bank holiday in the UK. I'm sure a lot of you can sympathise with that. Anyway, thanks for watching. I shall post this as soon as I can. Cheers.